Hi, welcome to 7 Facts. Here you'll find the most awesome collection of facts about every single country on Earth. In this episode, we'll take a look at the Australian Capital Territory. Check out this playlist to see the rest of the series. Before we begin though, please click the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this one. I upload 3 times a week, every week. The Australian Capital Territory is a small enclave within the state of New South Wales that contains Australia's capital city, Canberra. It is a federal district, somewhat like the District of Columbia that contains the United States capital, Washington, D.C. The need for a national territory was flagged by colonial delegates during the Federation Conventions of the late 19th century. New South Wales transferred this territory to the Commonwealth even before the site for the new capital city was chosen. Once the site was chosen, a new city was to be built, and it got the name Canberra from the Aboriginal word Kamberra, which meant meeting place. Currently, the Australian Capital Territory is the smallest self-governed territory of Australia, comprising 2,359 square kilometers of bushland and one major city, the capital. The district's change from a rural area in New South Wales to the national capital started during debates over federation in the late 19th century. Following a long dispute over whether Sydney or Melbourne should be the national capital, a compromise was reached. The new capital would be built in New South Wales, so long as it was at least 160 kilometers from Sydney, with Melbourne to be the temporary seat of government, but not referred to as the capital. Interestingly, it was a pamphlet called Dalgety or Canberra, written by newspaper proprietor John Gale, that proved to be decisive in the selection of Canberra. Once the selection was made, the federal government received the land from New South Wales and officially founded the territory. Today it is independent of any state to prevent any one state from gaining an advantage by hosting the seat of Commonwealth power. It has voting representation in the Commonwealth Parliament and has its own legislative assembly and government, similar to the states. Canberra serves as the territory's capital, alongside it being the entire nation's capital too. It is considered to be one of the most beautiful, cleanest, secure and hospitable capital cities in the world. Of course, right from the start, it was a planned city, and as a result, it incorporates significant areas of natural vegetation. Following an international contest for the city's design, a blueprint by American architects Walter Burley and Marion Mahoney Griffin was selected and construction commenced in 1913. The Griffin's plan featured geometric motifs such as circles, hexagons and triangles, and was centered on axes aligned with significant topographical landmarks. The growth and development of Canberra was hindered by the World Wars and the Great Depression, which exacerbated a series of planning disputes and the ineffectiveness of the bodies that were created to oversee the development. Canberra emerged as a thriving city only after World War II. As I said, Canberra is a planned city, and large areas of vegetation and natural landscapes were included in this plan. Among them is Lake Burley Griffin. This is an artificial lake that was created by damming the Molonglo River. However, its creation was troublesome to say the least. Basically, no substantial work was completed during the 1920s. Then the Great Depression and World War II happened, during which work was even slower. It wasn't until the 1950s that planning resumed, and excavations for the lake began in 1960. By 1963, all the bridges and dams were completed and the dams were locked. There was only one more problem. Australia was going through a drought, and it took 4 years until the water levels were high enough. So, with no rain in sight, mosquito-infested pools of water were the only visible sign of the lake filling. Doesn't sound nice, does it? Thankfully, the drought ended and the lake was filled, and today Canberra just wouldn't be the same without it. The Australian Capital Territory isn't just Canberra. No, it stretches 88 kilometers from north to south and 30 kilometers from east to west. And once you exit the city, you're in for a treat. You didn't think it's called the bush capital for nothing. The landscape around Canberra is made up of rugged plains, hills and mountains, as well as plenty of trees. Roughly 45% of the territory is made up of the Namadgi National Park, which provides Canberra with its drinking water. Many important Aboriginal campsites and spectacular rock art sites can be found within the national park's boundaries. The park is also home to hundreds of species of Australian wildlife. There aren't many capitals around the world that are surrounded by so much nature, so this is definitely a plus for Canberra. One of the most prominent buildings in Canberra and the entire territory is the Parliament House. It was completed in 1988 and, adjusted for inflation, it cost $1.8 billion. There are 4,700 rooms that accommodate some 2,500 people in what is one of the most spacious legislative buildings yet erected. On top of the building there's a massive flagpole, 81 meters high, weighing 250 tons. The flag itself weighs 15 kilograms. The structural integrity of the building should enable it to have a lifespan of 200 years without any major interventions. Capitol Hill, where the Parliament House resides, is the focal point from which all principal avenues in the city radiate, so this landmark is definitely not easy to miss. Canberra and the Australian Capital Territory are a magnet for tourists. Home to over 400,000 people, it is a place that combines modern infrastructure and award-winning urban development with untouched natural environments. This delightful contrast comes of course with a long list of activities that both locals and visitors can enjoy. Let me paint you a picture. You can start your day by slowly drifting over the city in a hot air balloon. Then go to the Jamala Wildlife Lodge and meet some of the most dangerous and endangered species on Earth. Once you're done with that, you can take a Segway tour around Lake Burley Griffin, or, if that's too boring for you, you can go on a bushwalk at Tidbindilla Nature Reserve and get up close to Australia's native and famous animals. And let's not forget that Canberra is home to literally dozens of museums, memorial sites and art galleries, not to mention the many festivals that are held annually. So, if you haven't bought your plane ticket yet, what are you waiting for? These were 7 facts about the Australian Capital Territory. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Share your thoughts downstairs in the comment section, and afterwards check me out on Facebook and Twitter. A good way to offer more support to this channel is through Patreon, link in the description. I hope to see you next time. Bye.